Good afternoon, everyone. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to the 2026 State of the County. Okay, so I am Christopher Neal, Multnomah County's Chief Operating Officer, or the COO, although this afternoon I've heard a few people referring to me as the MCOO. Did I get a couple of you? Okay. Thank you all for being here for this special event this evening, and what a setting for it. How many of y'all, when you all walked through, took a minute to look around and see what this amazing library looks like? Yes? This is the first major public event in this beautiful new auditorium since the library officially opened just days ago. So, yes, hell, yeah. So, congratulations, you are among the first people to break in these seats. So go ahead and get it. It's the first time, it's fresh. Also, I want to give another round of applause to this incredible band that was right over here playing, the Connie Bieberock Trio, yes? Also including Multnomah County's own Aquiles Montes, who was on the drums. They'll also be playing in the reception afterward at the library's amazing rooftop. Show of hands, how many of y'all have been up there? By the end of the night, everybody should have their hands up. They'll also, also make sure that you come up there for us, with us and join us. So, a couple quick notes though before we begin. Out of respect for those that are around you now, and I mean like right now, would be a good time to silence your cell phones. Don't be that guy, your phone rings, you're trying to figure out how to turn it off, like you haven't pressed that big button on the left-hand side. Some of you all know who I'm talking about. Make sure you turn those off, thank you. Today's program will begin with a welcome from Annie Lewis, Multnomah County Director of Libraries, and Gwen Milius, President-elect of City Club of Portland. Then Chair Jessica Vega-Peterson will deliver her final State of the County address, marking nearly a decade of service at Multnomah County. Following her remarks, the chair will join Rakaya Adams, President and CEO of 1803 Fund, for a conversation reflecting on leadership, on service, and the future of our community. And finally, we'll continue the evening with a rooftop reception and refreshments featuring light refreshments from Javelina Indigenous Dining and specialty non-alcoholic mocktails from 10 Cantina. With that, please help me in welcoming Multnomah County Director of Libraries, Annie Lewis.
Bring this down. Good afternoon, Multnomah County. What a pleasure it is to see all of you here this afternoon. My name is Annie Lewis, and I have the honor of serving as your director of this beloved library system. I want to start by saying welcome to our brand new East County Library. That's for the clap. This weekend, we celebrated the ribbon cutting and grand opening of this gorgeous facility, and we've been overjoyed with the support and engagement. During opening weekend, we saw over 14,000 visitors. I want to thank our amazing library staff for their work on this event. As Chris said, this is the first major public event following a major grand opening and ribbon cutting. So our staff put in a ton of work to make this happen, especially our managers here at the East County Library, our IT staff and vendors, as well as our library marketing team, who all contributed. Thank you also, importantly, to our residents and our voters for supporting libraries. While you're here, as Chris mentioned, I hope you get a chance to tour the space, get a library card, or renew your library card, and also check out a book or two. Also, if you're a voter, you will know that today's election day. Normally, libraries serve as ballot box locations. This location, because it just opened, doesn't have a ballot box. But I want to encourage you, if you have your ballot with you this evening, the old Gresham Library site just down the road has a ballot drop box, so please visit. Thank you all very, very much for being here this afternoon. I'd like to hand it over now to Gwen Milius, President-elect of City Club of Portland.
Thank you so much, Annie. It is such a thrill to see the investment our community is making in our libraries, and what a beautiful library it is, and to see the investment in East County specifically. I'm Gwen Milius, President-elect of the City Club of Portland. We're excited to welcome you to this year's State of the County with Chair Jessica Vega Peterson. City Club's mission is to educate and inform our members and the community about matters of public interest and to provide space for civic dialogue that encourages respectful discussion and positive change. We produce nonpartisan public forums and debates and conduct policy research that results in a written report with recommendations to policymakers. City Club members provide ideas, lead conversations, conduct research, and plan programs that address issues important to our community. We invite you to become a member at pdxcityclub.org. Looking ahead, please join us for 2 upcoming programs. On Tuesday, June 9th at 6 p.m., join us to meet Raymond Lee, Portland's new city administrator. That program will be at PSU's University Place Hotel. And on Friday, June 12th at noon, please join us for a program at Benson High School as an expert education panel discusses Oregon's dismal lack of instructional time for students and what it will take to turn this around. You can register for these upcoming programs at the City Club website at pdxcityclub.org. Special thanks to City Club's programming chair, Bobby Regan, and to City Club's marketing director, Kayla Kennett, for their support in producing this program. And as always, we're grateful to the chair's office and staff for our annual partnership in producing this State of the County, and to Rakaya Adams for your role moderating. Most importantly, we want to thank Jessica Vega Peterson for your many years of public service, both at the state and county levels. We wish you the very best going forward. Back to you, Chris.
All right, thank you to you both. So I joined Multnomah County just over a year ago, and in that time, Chair Vega Peterson and I have worked side by side through just about every challenge and opportunity that you can imagine, from responding to federal uncertainty to shaping the county's long-term strategic plan to navigating the everyday realities of leading a large and complex organization. Our offices are practically right next to each other, and we talk almost every day. And through that experience, I've had the chance to really see not just the role of chair, but more importantly, the person behind it. And I'll tell you all this, Chair Vega Peterson, this lady's tough, and I'm gonna talk about that. Even in the middle of difficult moments, she brings a calm steadiness to the work. She leads with focus, resilience, a deep belief that government can improve people's lives when it stays grounded in service. She has pushed this organization to think more broadly, collaborate more intentionally, and to operate more as one county serving one community. It's my honor to introduce Chair Vega Peterson, the first, get ready to clap, the first elected Latina chair of the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners. That's right. That's right. Before coming to the county, she was the first Latina elected to serve in the Oregon House of Representatives, where she championed issues including paid sick leave, pay equity, raising the minimum wage, and climate policy. Then 10 years ago, she was elected to the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners to represent District 3 in East Portland, where she led the effort to expand early childhood education through voter-approved Preschool for All initiative. That's what's up. Today, in her role as chair, she serves as the Chief Executive Officer of Multnomah County, which serves more than 800,000 residents through a workforce of over 6,600 employees and nearly a $4 billion budget. I didn't expect somebody to clap for the money, but that's cool. That's cool. Delivering everything from essential safety net support for our elders, neighbors experiencing homelessness, and community members with disabilities, as well as overseeing animal services, assessment and taxation, community justice and the courts, and ensuring the operation of elections, bridges, health services, jails, libraries, marriage licenses, passports, vital school and community partnerships. She ain't playing around, y'all. It's a tremendous, tremendous responsibility. And for the last 7 years, Chair Vega Peterson has carried that responsibility with stylish glasses. Y'all can clap for that one too. I'm down, And she's done it with conviction, and she's done it with care. Before we welcome the chair to the stage, please turn your attention to the screen for a short video highlighting some of the major milestones from her tenure. Watch.
Early January 2023, District 3 County Commissioner Jessica Vega Peterson is sworn in as Multnomah County's first elected Latina chair by Oregon Supreme Court Justice Adrienne Nelson at the Central Library.
In one of her first directives, JVP orders an audit of homeless services data utilization strategies. She says, "The humanitarian crisis on our streets demands we act and communicate with more transparency, accountability, and urgency."
Faced with severe overcrowding at the county's animal shelter soon after taking office, Chair Vega Peterson takes immediate steps to manage the crisis, while also delivering ongoing improvements through a new strategic plan. The chair is also a proud pet mom to 2 cats from the shelter, Marie and Darwin.
Ho ho! Big oil has to go!
In June 2023, Multnomah County files an ongoing lawsuit against 17 fossil fuel companies, seeking $50 million in actual damage and $1.5 billion in future damage.
The board votes to accept a new name for the bridge connecting the community to Sauvie Island, Wapato. The bridge's name honors a first food for Native communities.
January 2024, Governor Kotek, Mayor Wheeler, and the chair declare a 90-day state of emergency to address the fentanyl crisis. Efforts result in as much as a 40% decrease in fentanyl-related overdose deaths in the 6 months following.
Chair Vega Peterson hosts the first Chair's Budget Town Hall, a virtual convening to explain the budget process. She continues to hold this town hall each and every year.
The county's work to increase collaboration in homelessness response moves forward with a roadmap known as the Homelessness Response Action Plan, created with the City of Portland. This plan is ratified by both governments in June 2024.
Multnomah County launches a deflection program on September 1st, 2024, as new drug laws take effect. In the months following, the Coordinated Care Pathway Center connects hundreds of community members with initial steps of recovery over incarceration.
Multnomah County runs the community's first ranked choice election on November 5th, 2024. The county's impressive record of providing the most safe and sophisticated system in the nation comes through with flying colors, with over 90% of voters understanding how to fill out their RCV ballot.
JVP's commitment to increasing the response to mental health and addiction brings more than 250 new recovery, stabilization, and housing units online. She also prioritizes support with the county's first permanent crisis and stabilization center.
The Burnside Bridge has gone through many stages of design to become more earthquake ready. Later this month, one of Portland's favorite bridges celebrates 100 years of history, transit, and deep connections.
Chair Vega Peterson declares a state of emergency in response to ongoing harms from aggressive federal immigration enforcement. The declaration strengthened the county's sanctuary status and added resources to help families hurt by federal actions. Responding to increased threats of federal immigration enforcement, the chair co-led the addition of sanctuary policies to county code after establishing the Immigrant Resilience Program to provide direct assistance to families in need.
Chair Vega Peterson oversees the largest expansion of voter-approved preschool for all, including tuition-free seats for over 7,000 children this next school year. The program is ahead of target to reach universal coverage by 2030.
JVP thanks the people of Multnomah County and the county's incredible workforce for an eventful and productive decade. She extends special thanks to her family for continuing to be her North Star.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Multnomah County Chair Jessica Vega Peterson.
That was an amazing intro. Thank you, Chris, so much. Hello, Multnomah County, and hello to each of you who are here today, to everyone watching at home. It is really so lovely, such a privilege to be with you here today for my final State of the County event. Thank you all for joining us in our amazing new East County Library. Woo! I first want to thank Library Director Annie Lewis for hosting us in such an amazing space. The library team has put so much work into making sure that this goes smoothly, which is truly like the first major public event at the library since the opening, but they just did an opening on Saturday, and we know that everything is going to go just as smoothly. I will say we already heard that there were over 14,000 visitors last weekend. And that's a really incredible milestone. I want to also thank City Club for your support and your ongoing work to make sure these civic conversations get broadcast to all of the people throughout Oregon. Metro East Media, who is also making sure that people get to hear this today. The Connie B. Barak Trio, who I know they didn't know this, but like Van Morrison is one of my favorite singers. So like hearing them play that while I was like getting ready to speak was amazing. And of course, Chris Neal, our multi-talented COO, for emceeing this afternoon. I want to thank you and your team for walking alongside me and my team in the county's work each and every day. I'm also really honored to see so many distinguished guests in the audience, and I would like your help in welcoming the many elected leaders in this room. So if you are an elected leader, please stand for a moment so we can acknowledge you. And I see members and representatives from Congress, I see members and their representatives from Congress, state senators and representatives, mayors and councilors from the city of Portland, Gresham, Fairview, Troutdale, local judges, school board members, and last but of course not least, my colleagues on the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners. So thank you so much all for being here. I also want to see and acknowledge the unelected community leaders. And I want to make sure we recognize you. So please raise your hand if you're a person serving this community at a community-based organization, a faith-based organization, philanthropy, a business chamber or small business, a school district, a tribal leadership, or other role. Can you all raise your hand and can we get a round of applause for these folks? I want to just see and acknowledge you and thank you for the work that you do every day to make Multnomah County a better place. And I have had the pleasure of working alongside so many of you all throughout the years, and really it's an honor to be with you here today. I also wanted to recognize the recent loss of a special community leader, Cale Tern. Cale was a tireless advocate for our immigrant and refugee communities, and his memory and the impact he's made is going to continue to live on. Perhaps the most special guests for me personally are my family members who are here today. My husband, Aaron, my daughter, Dabria, my son, Zan, my parents, Bob and Laura, my sisters, who are my best friends, for being here with me today. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your support through the years. This journey has really been unbelievable. I could not have done it without you. I want to give a special thank you to Deborah and Xander. You continue to be my motivation for doing this work. And to just give you a picture of how long they've been in this with me, when I first ran for state representative in East Portland 14 years ago, they were like this high, and I could carry them as I was going door knocking. Now I am the shortest person in my family, and one of them is getting ready to go off to college. And Aaron, I'm not going to start crying before I give my speech, but I want you to know how much, well, you know how much you mean to me and what you do to make all of this possible, so thank you. And I would be truly remiss if I did not take an opportunity to appreciate all of the current and former Multnomah County employees who are here with us today. From our elections workers to our bridge operators, from our librarians to our clerks, from those doing direct outreach on our streets, those providing care in our health clinic and schools, from the veterinarians in our animal shelters to deputies patrolling our highways and rivers, to the hundreds and hundreds of people working behind the scenes. Not only do they keep this government running, but they ensure it runs to the standards and expectations of our community. These public servants are among the very best of us, and they show up in the most difficult of circumstances. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service to the residents of Multnomah County. And I also want to give a big shout out to my staff who support the county in big and small ways through long hours and late nights. They have made all this here today possible, so thank you so much for your dedication to public service in our community. So as we were getting ready for this speech, I realized that it is almost 10 years to the day since I was elected to the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners. Then, as now, I am motivated by the many issues my neighbors are facing all around me. Issues like traffic fatalities and poor air quality, evictions, hunger, homelessness, health and well-being for our youth and seniors, safety for those fleeing violence and persecution, and of course, the struggle to find affordable and quality preschool. As the largest local safety net service provider in the state, Multnomah County has a responsibility to address these and the many other critical issues facing our community. And in so many ways, Multnomah County continues to deliver even in the most difficult of circumstances. From the back roads of Sauvie Island to the streets of downtown Portland, from Multnomah Falls to Multnomah Village, from Northwest 23rd to Southeast 223rd, we are fulfilling a mission to provide accessible, high-quality, and innovative public service that creates stability, enhance opportunities, and reduce disparities. Today, with the help of my board colleagues, we are going to bring you closer to the stories you don't hear so often, stories about the ways we support people, starting with our work in schools to address youth mental health. Here is District 1 Commissioner Megan Moyer to talk about the county's school-based mental health program and the impact it's making in her district.
I'm standing inside the gym at Cleveland High School, home of the Warriors. Schools aren't just a place to learn, grow, and connect. They're a place where our students can find pathways to physical and mental health through invaluable student health centers and our school-based mental health program. These Multnomah County programs play a crucial role for entire communities in providing access to health care, normalizing mental health, reducing stigma, and ensuring that all students, regardless of background, feel comfortable seeking help. School-based mental health is one of the most appreciated services in our work to support youth, children, and families in Multnomah County. The ability to devote more time and energy to building trust, seeing students, and delivering actual mental health services is especially critical as we work with communities under immense and complex stresses and needs, something we're seeing now more than ever. Last fiscal year, my team advocated fiercely for the board to preserve mental health clinicians at the core of school-based mental health, making sure students have a trained professional at their school. In the last year, the county's Behavioral Health Division has been working with our system partners to put our school-based mental health program through a rigorous quality improvement process to make sure we're meeting our students' needs for behavioral health services as efficiently as possible. They're also hubs of trusted information and advocacy, playing important roles in youth education campaigns about the risks of substance use. These are just some of the ways Multnomah County is here to serve you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Moyer. This work is so important, especially in such challenging time for our youth and our schools. Even as state and federal cuts threaten the stability of this program, Multnomah County is committed to its future. We're backfilling cuts with county dollars because we know this program is saving lives and making a difference. In so many ways, Multnomah County's programs and services anchor our community through upheaval and change and from generation to generation. This is especially true of our 18 community health clinics, which serve anyone, regardless of economic status or identity. In just the last year, these clinics have provided essential medical, dental, and pharmacy services to more than 60,000 people. Here's District 2 Commissioner Shannon Singleton to talk about the huge impact of just one clinic.
I'm currently at the corner of MLK and Killingsworth, standing inside the Walnut Park complex. This county-owned building is currently home to our Northeast Health Center and a number of community services, including a dental clinic, a Meals on Wheels dining center, and the Urban League of Portland's Multicultural Senior Center. This is a significant place for Portland's Black and immigrant communities. After struggling with gentrification, many historical residents still travel from all over the county to this important center for care. Since 1997, planning efforts have been underway with significant investment by the community to revitalize and redevelop Walnut Park. I am proud to have led the way in my first year to propel this project forward, despite decades of inaction that stalled the intended redevelopment of the area. I'm here today because the county recently partnered with an all-star team to redevelop Walnut Park with a public-private partnership. This project serves as a great example of how the county can lean into our role in economic development by leveraging county resources with the private sector to have a positive impact on community. This will create opportunities for more family wage jobs via construction, as well as the long-term uses of the site. Together, we can make these positive changes in our community and bring crucial resources to those that need it most, while centering the needs of Portland's Black community.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Singleton, for your leadership. How often is a government service so woven into the fabric and identity of a community? This brings to mind to me two people who are here today, Mr. Ray Leary and Ms. Gina Woolley. So they're over here. They are both lifelong members of the Albina community. They have lived through the disinvestment and displacement of Portland's Black community and now are partners with the county in redeveloping the Walnut Park site. It also makes me think of Rachel Banks, who was born and raised in this neighborhood, who got her first vaccinations at that clinic, and is now serving as Multnomah County's Health Department Director. This is what we mean when we say that this work matters. It matters to us both professionally and personally. This work will matter more as the federal government retreats from its responsibilities to protect and promote the well-being of its people. Over the past year, Multnomah County has adapted and responded to more than 50 major federal health-related policy and funding changes that posed a risk to the health department's mission and operation. I am so proud of how our organization has responded. Through a coordinated strategy, rapid policy analysis, and collaboration with partners, we've sustained critical services and safeguarded access to care for our most vulnerable populations. We know that our community is counting on these services. Nationally, we are seeing a rise in communicable diseases, including measles, which was declared eliminated in the year 2000, but is now on track to top Oregon's worst outbreak in 3 decades. Cases of foodborne illnesses, tetanus, whooping cough, and hepatitis are also on the rise nationally, posing active threats locally. Our ability to beat back these routine diseases is a good indicator of our capacity to take on bigger threats. Even as federal support declines, Multnomah County's public health infrastructure remains strong, and we stand ready to respond as threats emerge. None of this is possible without partnerships. At Multnomah County, we do a lot, but we don't do it alone. One of the things I am most proud of is the way that we partner with community-based organizations to co-create solutions to address the deep and persistent disparities in our community. Here's District 3 Commissioner Julia Brim-Edwards to talk about one such partnership.
I'm Julia Brim-Edwards, Multnomah County Commissioner, representing District 3 and the diverse and vibrant communities in East Portland. Every day, I'm looking for ways to help those who are struggling with mental health issues or trying to shake the grip of drug addiction. The county partners with local organizations and healthcare providers to provide funding to support behavioral health services. One of our partners is the Asian Health and Service Center here in Southeast Portland. This is a place that is providing culturally specific care, behavioral health services, and community meals. The Asian Health and Service Center reaches community members in ways that the county doesn't have the capacity to reach. They provide mental health services and counseling in a multitude of languages, delivered by diverse health professionals, which means the services are accessible, used, and valued. And finally, the Commission recently took action to move forward with a project I've been leading and driving with Chair Vega Peterson, which is the construction of a 24/7 sobering and crisis stabilization center. This center will provide permanent sobering services and much needed withdrawal management beds so that individuals struggling with addiction can start on their path to treatment and recovery. We know this is an urgent need in our community, and it will provide life-saving services to many. We have much more work to do, and we'll do that by working together. Let's do this, Multnomah County.
Thank you, Commissioner, for highlighting this great work that's happening. Multnomah County's work is aided through rigorous planning with and for the community. Nowhere is this better reflected than in the transformative Library Capital Bond project, which voters passed in 2020. The basis for the bond started even earlier in 2016 when Multnomah County embarked on a facilities planning process to identify and scope of library needs for the next 2 decades. Thousands of residents, community leaders, stakeholders, and library staff participated in shaping this future. We found that Multnomah County Library System was one of the busiest and most highly regarded in the country, yet had one of the smallest footprints. At the time, our 19 libraries countywide could fit into the space of the downtown Seattle-centric library with room to spare. We also found great inequities in how library facilities and spaces were distributed, particularly in communities east of I-205, including right here in Gresham. Voters recognized the need and approved the bond in 2020 to address geographic and historic inequities and build new, joyful public spaces that are accessible for everyone in Multnomah County. Here is Commissioner Vince Jones-Dixon, representing District 4, to talk about this investment and what it means for our community.
Finally, I'm standing in our newly built state-of-the-art East County Library right here in Gresham. This premier 95,000 square foot, 2-story space is a place for people to learn, play, and connect. The library was built by people living in our own communities using sustainable materials from the Pacific Northwest, from the sound dampening ceilings to the towering mass timber walls. A truly impressive range of local tradespeople, experts, and construction workers from diverse backgrounds, including apprentice and journey-level workers, built this library from the ground up. The county is also continuing to do our part to support a diverse, local construction workforce and the small businesses at its heart. Our Construction Diversity Equity Fund supports critical pre-apprenticeship programs, support services, retention programs, technical assistance, mentoring, and training, all of which can help these small businesses thrive. 1% of new construction projects over $1 million is contributed to this fund to support this work. This is a place that truly belongs to the people of East County. This jewel of a library system was shaped by input from those who can now use it every day, from local high school students to long-serving community-based organizations, and all kinds of East County neighbors in between. For a long time, my neighbors in East Multnomah County have lived with the effects of underinvestments in the places they call home, but this library signals a meaningful change for the community. These opportunities would not be possible without the support of the voters, who chose to invest in the profound power of this community space. Thank you. A community that can gather together is a community that is stronger together. And it's this community that's helping make Multnomah County America's favorite county.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your enthusiasm, for your leadership. That was such a power shot that you went out on up there. I love that. Yes. As you love to say, we are building America's favorite county, and the evidence of renewal is all around. It's found in our diverse neighborhoods, in the library shelves filled with multilingual books, in the patter of little feet and the joyful chaos of story time, in packed parking lots and community rooms. People love their libraries. In the last year, that has meant over 2 million in-person visits, and this enthusiasm will only continue to grow. We talked about the door count for this opening. For Saturday alone, it was 9,250 people. I'm sorry, 9,250 people. That is actually almost as much as the entire city of Fairview, so thank you to Fairview. It is also incredible that with the opening of this East County Library, we are almost at the end of our bond program. In just 5.5 years, Multnomah County has successfully completed 18 building projects, with the final 2 to be completed before the end of this summer. Yes, that's worth applause. These projects have increased our library spaces by more than 50%, and most impressively, we have completed them on time, ahead of schedule and on budget. So thank you to the Multnomah County Library. Thank you to the Library Capital Bond team. This is what our community and our voters expect, and proof of the county's ability to deliver. If we make promises as a government or a public official, we must deliver on them. This has been a personal and professional North Star for me throughout my time as an elected official. And it is with this focus to deliver on our promises that Multnomah County continues to lead. I am proud of what the county has been able to accomplish over the past few years. Here are just some of the examples that I share today. Since the first day that I took office as chair, we have been working hard to address a long-standing crisis in the infrastructure of our Animal Services Division. In response, we put together an Animal Services Strategic Plan and have addressed 90 of the 108 recommendations from that plan, while also kickstarting work to reimagine animal services at a new, expanded facility in future years. In our last general election, despite acts of intimidation, including an arsonist who sought to set fire to a county ballot box, our elections division successfully executed the most complicated election in the region's history, with the introduction of ranked choice voting for the city of Portland. I have just as much confidence that the same will be true this year when Multnomah County elected offices also shift to this new voting process. When our county jails were running out of space and reaching crisis levels, we invested in recruiting and retaining sheriff office deputies, and I am pleased to say that our staffing capacity is as stable as it's ever been. I want to thank Sheriff Nicole Morrissey O'Donnell for her leadership and her team's partnership in this work. When the state law rapidly recriminalizing drug use and possession, we worked hard with law enforcement and mental health partners to stand up a brand new deflection program in a matter of months, offering pathways away from incarceration and towards treatment. In the first year of the program, law enforcement made 606 referrals to deflection. One of these people was a U.S. Army veteran with several disabilities who had not slept in days. Although initially resistant, he agreed to be admitted to the center's sobering unit. After sobering, he worked with a clinician to connect with a detox center, additional veteran-specific services, and finally, a direct transfer from detox to a 90-day residential treatment program. We wish him success on his road to recovery, and we will continue to adapt and improve this work to serve others like him. This story is a prime example of the role of deflection in the county's behavioral health services continuum. In the coming years, this continuum will continue to grow with the completion of the permanent Sobering and Crisis Stabilization Center. This center fills a longstanding need and adds to a network of substance abuse prevention, harm reduction, treatment, and recovery programs provided by the county in collaboration with more than 100 community partners. I want to thank District Attorney Vasquez and our law enforcement partners for their ongoing collaboration and our deflection and public safety work. These and other county services are needed now more than ever, as neighbors struggle on our streets in need and want of services and stability. As families stare down eviction notices, unsure of who to call or where to go next. We need both strong partnerships and swift action to address the dominant issue facing our community, homelessness. I took office knowing that addressing homelessness would be my #1 priority, and it has been. This is an issue I've worked on every single day in my tenure as chair. I know that if we work together, there is little that we cannot do. And yet, when I came into office, the county, the city of Portland, the East County cities, and our community partners, including housing providers, hospitals and health systems, and the criminal justice and legal systems, were not aligned in our work to address homelessness. We did not have shared goals, a shared strategy, or an oversight structure, or a clear understanding of the true scale of the problem. Now we do. Setting the table for this collaboration has been one of my most proudest achievements in my tenure as chair. In 2024, together with the City of Portland, we created the Homelessness Response System and launched a strategic reset of the community's response to homelessness, the Homelessness Response Action Plan. That 2-year roadmap guided partners in sheltering or housing over 23,000 people by the end of 2025. This record amount of support represents a 46% increase in people housed or sheltered compared to the 2 years prior to the plan. In just 2 years, this has become a launchpad for Multnomah County to pursue deeper partnerships to better align services, including among county departments. These partnerships are preventing homelessness before it happens, getting people access to the care and services they need to remain housed, and gaining insights across data systems, like our new initiative with HealthShare to combine healthcare and homeless services data to better support people across both systems. I am pleased to say that this November, our plan was updated and renewed with approval from both the Portland City Council and the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners. I want to thank both our Homelessness Response Systems team and our Homeless Services Department for their leadership in this work. Our system and our collaboration is stronger than ever. With homelessness increasing, it is really easy to lose sight of the values of these supports, but it's critical to understand how many more people could be living on our streets without the safety net we've built. At this very moment, a record number of 9,200 people who were formerly homeless are supported in stable housing because of our combined efforts. And over 83% of people that we place into housing remain in their home 2 years later. In this past year, we have prevented 4,600 evictions, provided shelter for thousands more, and every month, hundreds of people will go from homelessness to housing thanks to our services. Just imagine, without these efforts, there could be almost 14,000 more people living in our streets. This work is making a difference. For the first time since I've been at the county, we are seeing a year-over-year decrease in deaths among people who are experiencing homelessness. According to the latest data, fewer people died in our streets in 2024 compared to 2023, with the largest reduction on record since Multnomah County began its analysis. We still have a long way to go in eliminating deaths on the street for people experiencing homelessness. But this shows us, with the right investments and with a strong commitment, we are making an impactful difference. Providing a bed for the night is important, but providing a bed for a lifetime is a solution. In the coming year, with budget cuts looming, we must prioritize smart, data-informed investments across the continuum of support, without over-resourcing any one element at the expense of the healthy functioning of the rest of the system. Thankfully, we have the plan, we have the partnerships, and we have the people to do just that. The stakes couldn't be higher for our region. We know that our economic recovery depends on a healthy and thriving downtown Portland, and Multnomah County will continue to be a key partner in these efforts. This means a continued county investment in programs and services making a difference downtown, like our Behavioral Health Resource Center, which has welcomed over 130,000 total visits since opening less than 4 years ago. This year, my budget ensures that will be no loss in hours or days of service for the BHRC. In the direct aftermath of COVID, when our downtown was struggling the most, I made sure that the county was part of the solution to bring tourism and visitors back to downtown Portland. We committed $12 million directly to the Visitors Development Fund for the work of attracting conventions and big events to our community. And of course, the county is committed to the Moda Center remodel to keep this economic engine running and ensure that the Blazers, the Portland Fire, concerts, and cultural events all continue to be hosted right here in Multnomah County. As I wrap up some of the work that I'm most proud of, I need to make sure to say how proud we all should be of the ways that our whole community has shown up this past year in solidarity and support of our most vulnerable neighbors. We showed up as families were being torn apart by masked federal agents. To this day, breadwinners, parents, grandparents, children are being harassed and kidnapped on their way to work, school, or to seek care. In response, I declared a state of emergency, and this board worked urgently to strengthen our sanctuary status and allocate $250,000 support and legal assistance for impacted families. We showed up again when the federal administration made an unprecedented and unconscionable move to cut off SNAP food benefits for roughly 143,000 Multnomah County residents. Response partners from every corner of Multnomah County hopped onto daily calls to coordinate our work. And together with my colleagues, we allocated $100,000 to help community organizations purchase and distribute food for thousands of community members. The emergency food distribution effort concluded last month. After a 5-week run, over 1,800 food boxes were distributed to families at a rate of 7 pallets per week. I am so thankful for our Department of County Human Services, our Health Department, and our Office of Emergency Management, as well as the many community nonprofits and mutual aid groups who partnered to make that possible. We don't know what threats this federal administration will bring next, but know that Multnomah County is prepared and stands with our community. As I said when I was first sworn into office as a county commissioner 10 years ago, our problems aren't new, so our solutions need to be. In the history of Multnomah County, I think there are few greater examples of this than the county's Preschool for All program. I am incredibly proud of this work, which I have steered since my earliest days in office, and which continues to maintain enormous community support and backing, as we just heard. I know that there are many Preschool for All advocates here with us today, and I want to thank you for your role in bringing this program to life and defending it against ongoing threats. This program is incredible because it fulfills the belief that our government can meet the needs of our communities in new, innovative, and thoughtful ways, with urgency and at scale. This program could not have come at a better time. Since 2008, the cost of meeting basic needs for a family of one adult, one preschooler, and one school-aged child in Multnomah County has climbed a staggering 223%, from $32,000 a year to $105,000 annually. It is no wonder that we are seeing so many young families struggle. The rising cost of living means that today, far too many households are not making enough to meet their basic needs. In Gresham, where we are today, half of households fall under the ALICE threshold. ALICE stands for asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So these are households whose incomes are above the federal poverty level and earn too much to qualify for public assistance, but are still unable to cover basic expenses. Preschool for All provides direct relief for young families at all income levels at a time when they are most financially burdened, saving families an average of over $18,000 per child per year, while ensuring that parents, and especially mothers, can pursue employment and training opportunities that can lift families out of poverty. This past summer, through a series of public hearings, meetings, and work sessions, we, the board, had a chance to hear from hundreds of people who shared the life-changing impact Preschool for All has had on their families and communities. One of the most powerful testimonies was from a mother of a 3-year-old who is in recovery and working in the field of behavioral health. Following years of shuffling between homes and from one precarious childcare situation to another, her son was accepted into the Preschool for All program for the school year. Of that experience, she said, "I am super excited to have a safe place for my child to go. It is more than just a place for him to thrive and learn. It's a place where I can rest my mind and know that my kid is in a safe environment. I am doing all this so that he can have a better life than I did, and so I can learn from my mistakes and my past. I just want him to have a chance that I didn't." Preschool for All is giving that chance. Preschool for All is giving every child a chance to reach their full potential, regardless of their backgrounds. It is now not only the wealthiest families who have the comfort of knowing that their children will have the best possible start at an excellent preschool. That is now true for every family in Multnomah County. Our thoughtful rollout of the program has meant that during this expansion period, we have been able to reach those families that need it the most. 74% of children enrolled are from lower income families. 65% identify as Black, Indigenous, or children of color, and 30% speak a language other than English at home. In addition to the support of families, Preschool for All is giving a chance to hundreds of preschool teachers and staff who can now make a dignified living doing this very important work, with wages as high as $39 an hour for lead teachers. Given that most workers in the field are women, Preschool for All is effectively the biggest economic development program for women in Multnomah County's history. Preschool for All is also giving a chance to entrepreneurs and small business owners who might not otherwise have access to the capital that they need. Since launching in 2024, the program's facility fund has provided nearly $31 million in grants and loans to over 60 different preschool programs. Preschool for All gives Multnomah County a chance to be the best place for young families and children to live and thrive. I am proud to have led the program's conception and largest expansion. This next school year, we will serve the most children yet, as the program nearly doubles to over 7,000 seats across 188 providers and 347 site locations. With this expansion, it is clear that Multnomah County is ahead of schedule in delivering free, universal preschool for all. Our families are counting on us, and I want to give a huge shout out to the Preschool and Early Learning Division for their expertise, dedication, and ability to deliver under the most intense scrutiny. When people ask what is the state of Multnomah County, we can proudly say that we are in a state of transformation. Throughout my time, Multnomah County has evolved and delivered in the most difficult of circumstances, and I fully expect that that will continue. We approach challenges with ambition, creativity, and the willingness to fight for what we believe is right. This is what has given us the strength to navigate so many remarkable and unprecedented challenges in recent years, and what gives me hope for our future. Today, as we take stock of the county, let us be proud of the fact that our county government is as strong as it's ever been. Let us believe in our ability to deliver the future our children and grandchildren deserve. We have every right to dream big dreams on their behalf. Let us renew our faith in government and in each other. To anyone who has doubts, look at this space that we're in right now and consider the countless people who made it possible. This includes you, our voters, who have boldly demanded change at the ballot box, from libraries to homelessness to preschool. It includes our community partners and providers. And of course, it includes the heroes who work at Multnomah County. These are the people who have delivered and will continue to deliver the change that we all want to see. My promise and my commitment to you, Multnomah County will continue to deliver for our community. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with me today. Multnomah County is here for everyone and always will be. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. We're now going to take a quick break to transition to a conversation with one of our brightest and boldest leaders, Rakaya Adams.
Thank you, Chair Vega Peterson. One more round of applause for our Multnomah County Chair Vega Peterson. One thing that I do want to add, beyond all the accomplishments that you just heard, is that Chair Vega Peterson truly delivered on her vision of one county. And I say that not just as a slogan like you hear all the time, but as someone who has seen the operational side of this organization every day. Under her leadership, departments are collaborating more closely than they have in years. We now have a countywide mission, vision, values, and a strategic plan that guide how we operate together, not separately. We've increased transparency through public dashboards and clearer performance measures. We've modernized internal operations. We've strengthened leadership teams across the entire organization. And we've continued the hard work of improving workplace culture and accountability. And a lot of that work doesn't make the headlines, but that's okay, because it's our headline. And it matters deeply because it changes how government functions for its employees, for its residents, and for the future of this community. And that too, all of that, is part of Chair Vega Peterson's legacy. And now, I'm especially excited for this next portion of today's program, a conversation between Chair Vega Peterson and Ms. Rakaya Adams, President and CEO of the 1803 Fund. These two are deeply thoughtful and visionary leaders who care tremendously about the future of this community. Since 2023, Rakaya Adams has led the 1803 Fund, an organization focused on growing shared prosperity and advancing generational wealth in Black communities through investment, community power, and real assets. She brings a unique blend of lived experience growing up in subsidized housing, legal expertise, and investment leadership to her work, and has become one of the most respected civic voices in our region. Ms. Adams is also the co-founder of Albina Vision Trust. And go ahead and give it up, Albina Vision Trust. And serves in numerous leadership roles across Oregon and beyond, including with the Port of Portland, Oregon Public Broadcasting, and the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. A distinguished graduate of Carleton College, Rakaya earned her Juris Doctor from Stanford Law, contributing to the Law and Policy Review and serving as co-president of the Law Student Association. She also holds an MBA from Stanford Graduate School of Business. Please join me in warmly welcoming Miss Rakaya Adams.
Chris, thank you so much for that introduction. Sometimes I hear my bio and I'm like, who is that lady? And I'm like, oh my God, that's me. What a delight to be here. I look forward to a conversation with Chair Vega Peterson. My objective is to get below the surface of the policy discussions, of the political landscape, and to talk with the person doing this work. Listening to you, I want to call you Jessica because you're my friend. No, not today. You get your honorific, Chair Vega Peterson. What occurred to me as you were talking is that we know our economy is in a K-shaped recovery, where some people are doing really well and some people are not doing really well. And that the work you've been doing is the communication, the tension point between those two economies. And the discussion about preschool for all, for example, is an example of, some folks who don't want to pay taxes to fund it, or they're concerned about execution, and other people who need it. And it occurred to me that your entire practice is holding the tension in that K-shaped economy. How does that feel?
Rakaya. So I will say, some people know this, some people don't. I came into public office from a background in the technology industry. And I am always interested in technology and what's happening. And I have to say, I am really frightened right now for the potential future, the potential K-shape of our economy. With AI, with automation, with robots, all of those things which I think are important and can be profoundly impactful and will be profoundly impactful, but can also be incredibly harmful. And so they can be impactful in a positive way or in a negative way, depending on how we do this. And right now what I'm not seeing is policymakers demand accountability from the billionaires who are driving this change. I don't see any meaningful conversation about the impacts to workers, millions of workers in this country, because of the change that's happening. And to me, that's just unacceptable. It's not doing your job. It's not doing your duty. So where we can make a difference, where I can make a difference here in Multnomah County, I want to make sure that we are investing everything that we can in changing that trajectory, in giving the kids the ability to have the best start in life, like I said, regardless of how wealthy their parents are. And that's fundamentally what Preschool for All is about. But the fact is, the dollars to fund that kind of transformational work has to come from somewhere. What I've seen and what we've all seen is that since the pandemic, the rich are getting richer. And that is true. We've just had a tax bill that is giving more money and extending tax cuts to the wealthiest people. There has to be a recognition of the impact that has on our communities here and across the country. And that's part of why we have to do Preschool for All. I know that the systems that have been built don't serve all kids. We all know that. I shared a story. Where's my mom? I'm going to tell this story. When she was in 4th grade, she took a test that everybody in the district took, and she scored the highest of every 4th grader in her school district. But she didn't even find out about that until she was in high school, when a guidance counselor looked at her transcript and was like, how come you weren't in the college prep program? But she didn't even know. She doubted her parents even knew. And that kind of, I was so sad when I heard that, but I was also so angry. And it proves that like our systems are not set up to have kids like my mom, Black and brown kids, poor kids, girls succeed. And so I feel a lot of responsibility in this role and in this work to make that change, to make those systems change to serve all our kids, including kids like my mom.
That's incredible. I was one of those kids, so thank you. If you wonder what the future value of your work is, it's, I was one of those kids living in Northeast Portland, near King's School, kicking around, needing the support that you're providing. So as you look back on your 4 years as chair and 10 years on the commission, you served through some of the most challenging moments in the country. How are you feeling and what comes to mind? I mean, other than, the last hour that you've been talking to us, but how are you feeling about this moment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of Multnomah County. I'm really proud of our community and like the way that we have shown up and stood together and fought together against the pressures that we have. I'm hopeful for the ways that we do work together, even though like the headlines are always love to talk about how we don't get along, but like where that work actually is happening. But I think mostly what I feel is gratitude. Like I am so grateful for the people who work at Multnomah County every single day, for the thousands of people that we work in partnership with. I came here from state level government and I'm really proud of the big policies that I was able to pass, paid sick leave and climate action and all of that. But coming to local government this past 10 years, this is where the boots hit the dirt. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we stand up for people every single day. And county employees do that every single day in, as you said, like the most challenging circumstances. But they do it and they do it well because they are passionate, creative, caring, mission-driven. And that is something that I am incredibly grateful for. I know we have a lot of state representatives and senators here today. Thank you for being here. But I would also just want you to know as you go back and you do that higher level work at the state level, like we are your partners. We are the people who are getting these things done on the ground. So let us work together because we do have this opportunity to deliver. We've got the people here. We've got over 6,000 employees who are doing that work every day. But it's up to us to make sure that that happens.
So a part of my job is to make sure Chair Vega Peterson actually says how awesome she is, because women often show a level of humility that I don't think really works for the level of success that you've had. But first Latina elected to the state legislature, first Latina to run Multnomah County. I also want to ask, is Multnomah County the most populous county in the state?
We are by far the most populous county in the
Okay, so you are running the most important county in the state?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I get that right. One of the things I love about you, in addition to your calm, steadfast leadership, is that you've been incredibly ambitious. Please don't let the nice dress fool you, okay? This is like solid steel here moving forward. And this building, this edifice is an expression of that ambition. So why has leading and governing so ambitiously been important to you?
Yeah, so I love the phrase governing ambitiously because like you got to shoot your shot, right? Like you do this, we are so privileged to have these positions in elected office, but it's transitory. There's going to be, more people coming down the line, and we are standing on the shoulders of the people before us. But while I am here in this moment, in these roles, I want to be doing every single thing that I can to make as much difference to better our community as possible. And that's, so like, it's ambitious, but it's also like, of course we have to do that because that's what we're here for. That's our responsibility. That's our duty.
Yes and no. Now you're being self-deprecating again. No, the Preschool for All work really was nation leading. It wasn't just wonderful for Multnomah County, and the buildings where kids will learn and are safe, and the libraries. It's all wonderful. So what I think is so remarkable about your tenure is that there's this perception that we're managing decline, not building toward possibility. And you're building toward possibility. And you're doing it, while the media and some people kind of take swings at you, and you don't swing back. So I want to talk about being a person who thinks ambitiously in an environment where people perceive us managing, decline and not towards possibility.
Okay, I mean, it's hard for me to talk very personally. I will say a lot of who I am and how I show up is because of my family, because of my amazing parents. They raised 3 daughters, and we're all badasses. They really because you have to show up and give your all. And but I will say, and you're gonna yell at me again, but I also have never done anything alone. In fact, I think the biggest mistakes I've made is when I've tried to go out on my own and not stand beside the people who are just as committed as I am to the work. But I also do recognize that this position and some of the things where I've been the first in is unique and is powerful and is important. And I wanna, I want there to be so many more people who come after me to continue this work to do it. So I do wanna be, like a role model and an inspiration, and also get stuff done in the moment that I have.
Yeah, but all of the ideas and ideals have to land on a person. They land on a body, right? And that body takes the stress, it takes the opportunity, it takes the praise, and I have often sent you positive energy as you were the person embodying, our collective ambition. And, it seems to me that you've carried that with a lot of grace. And I wonder, as you look out on the next, phase of your life, hopefully you'll take a break at some point, but, what did you think was at stake in choosing to push preschool for all? What was your real driver? I hear your mother's story, and that's amazing. But what was the fire and the drive in there? Because when you first started talking about it, I don't know what year it was, 2017 or 2018, somewhere in there. There was a lot of convincing that happened, and you had to have a lot of passion about it.
Yeah. I mean, just we can do so much better in this country than we do. And I just really fundamentally believe that. And I believe that, again, we are a special place because we have a lot of people who are committed to seeing a vision of equality, a vision of diversity, a vision of excellence for everybody, actually come into fruition. And I will say, and you say, I handle things with grace, and and I appreciate that, and I try to be calm and steady and focused on it. I also have a lot of people who get really angry on my behalf, so that is also so that is also helpful. My husband and my sisters and my so that to me is also, and my staff, they so I mean, but I also it doesn't serve anyone for me to get angry. I mean, people can show up and get behind a microphone and say whatever they want and make these and that's fine, and also that's not getting the work done, and I'm not so interested in that. I am interested in knowing that a kid in Hazelwood is going to get a preschool where they walk in and they and their parents feel so comfortable immediately because they are greeted in the language that they speak in their house. And that a kid can walk into their classroom and see their teachers look like them and understand where they're coming from. And I think that is something that is, it feels miraculous, but it's not a miracle because we have done it, we build it, and we can continue to do that in any kind of issue, whether you're talking about homelessness, whether you're talking about climate, whether we're talking about healthcare. We can do big, important things, and we need more people to be believing in that, especially in this moment in our country. And I think Multnomah County has and can continue to be the light of showing the example of how it's done.
We can do big things, Multnomah County. You heard it from the chair. We can do big things. I know someone's keeping our time. I don't know who you are, but throw something at me if we're running on. I want to do a few rapid responses here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What do you think was your most significant accomplishment?
Okay, so the Preschool for All, and then just over my whole career, a women's economic opportunity agenda, all of the stuff for women.
What's your biggest missed opportunity?
Not bringing people along when we were facing some really big budget crisis and trying to stand on my own instead of standing next to people.
What has public leadership made you better at personally?
Having difficult conversations. You know.
What's something leadership has changed your mind about?
That things are not so like one side or the other, that like how much you've been able to get done, even with people who like might be on the other side of an issue or something, like how much room there actually is in getting something accomplished.
Wow, that's spoken like a leader. Now, I'm going to close us out with this last question, and you can answer it for as long as you'd like.
Like
How do you hope we continue building from here?
Courageously. I want us to continue to build with ambition. I want us to continue to build with not being afraid to know that diversity, equity, and inclusion, and affirmative action are things that are actually righting injustices that have existed for centuries, and that we are believing in them and standing up for them. I want us to do it with gratitude to the workers who are doing the jobs every day in recognition of their importance, whether that's in the county or the people who are doing that, every single day with the partners that we have. From here, I want us to continue to be bold, to be collaborative, to be proud of who we are as Portlanders, as Multnomah County residents. I don't want us to shy away. Things are hard right now. Every entity I know, from governments to schools to organizations, are fighting, budget crunches and trying to figure out things. We have to work together. We don't have any other choice. And even though things feel like pretty dire at a national level, like we are going to get beyond this. We are going to be through this. Like people have been like resilient for so long. I think like since COVID, I think like a lot more people have had to figure out how to be resilient. But we got this. We got this baked into our DNA, right? Like we are the ancestors of like the cave people who like struggled, and we are we are the survivors who have made it through. So I want us to have faith in ourselves, but most importantly, have faith in each other, and be able to continue to look forward with optimism and raise our voices so that we can get the work done.
Wow, okay. Jessica, you have led during one of the most consequential periods in Portland's history through homelessness. You've helped us adopt and create and fund a preschool for all program. You dealt with animal services, a fentanyl crisis. You've helped us think through public safety. The work you're doing in providing opportunity and resources to East County is really amazing, and facing the equity issue not just in talk, but allocating capital and resources. You've helped improve behavioral health services in the state. And you were our county leader when ICE interventions disrupted the peace in our community. On behalf of the citizens of Multnomah County, we all thank you for your time as chair.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program. Let's one more time thank Chair Jessica Vega Peterson for your leadership, for your service, and your thoughtful conversation.